G'day, Alex. I'm pleased to hear that you're interested in Brahmacharya, and you're interested in me sharing my experience. Let me see. How did you word the question? You're interested in me very much. You very much agree with my idea about Tantra and Brahmacharya. I could share a bit more, specifically the transmutation and how it pertains to working with Shakti. So, without referencing, I'm sharing this without referencing any teachings, just based on my own living process and on my interactions with Master Charles and his teaching to me. And then I'm going to also reference some classical tantric texts for you and give you some further resources. So I have found that if you are engaging in sexual activity and you are not conserving the sexual fluids, the Kundalini energy, I want to say this up front, the Kundalini energy will adapt. Whereas if you go for periods of where you are practicing the Brahmacharya and you're conserving that sexual energy, and if you go further than just conserving the sexual energy, you also abstain from sexual thoughts and sexual attitudes, so that you therefore don't view any material that's overtly sexual. That's important anyway. That's got all kinds of benefits for your brain, as does conserving the sexual fluids, has all kinds of benefits for your brain and your capacity and your, in the sense of your working mind, Ramesh Balsekar used to call it, becomes more efficient, and your organism is able to function more efficiently when you're conserving that sexual fluid, because your entire being magnetizes and becomes the nerve endings and the neurons and the perceptual apparatus becomes kind of excited and enters into quite an intense, as you're aware, every adult will be aware who's had sex, an intense outward focus, and that sexual process creates pretty strong impressions in the mind and the heart, and it's going to that orientates you towards or into a particular type of relationship with others, with another, your partner. But in general, it's going to shift the organism itself's reaction to the female of the species, so to speak. And this is something that it's organismic. This is in the depths of your brain and your body and your nervous system. And so that added weight into the perceptual apparatus for the physiological dimension of perception is going to have to take its energy, that ends up being energy, which is consciousness. And that energy is coming from your pool or your sphere of consciousness, your capacity for consciousness. Whereas if you eat a vegetarian diet, your consciousness becomes more refined, and your capacity, your felicity is the word that comes to mind, your feeling for the subtler vibrational dimension, and ultimately that noumenal breakthrough into profound oneness becomes more available. In the same way, when you practice Brahmacharya, it's more than just transmuting the sexual fluid, although that's an amazing part of it. You've got to realize you're also transmuting the energy of the perceptual apparatus. It's mind stuff that you transmute as well, but don't think of it just as mind stuff. It's the energies of consciousness that translate into the perceptual apparatus, you see, as feeling, as desire, as thought, as tendencies in perception. and become samskaras and vrittis. And so you've got all of that, plus then you've got the propensities and habits of the organism, which itself can be more magnetized into objectifying women, and then seeing that as a source of one's identity, because anything that you objectify and then there's some kind of gain for you is then also defining your own identity in some sense, even if it's just the organism in the way it's operating. So when you abstain from that, the thing with Brahmacharya is you're not just abstaining, you're actively you're abstaining, but why? And the energy that you were putting into the sexual activity, where's it going? It needs to be going towards reaching higher states of consciousness, towards God, towards loving God, towards enlightenment. You can, that energy, to get that energy to be channeled up the Sushumna, we might think, or just on the surface of it, that we would be focusing on visualizing and breathing up the spine and so on, meditating more. Sure, that's part of it, but there's actually a lot more to it. It's subtler and simpler and richer, because you also channel the energy up the Sushumna by helping others, by being kind in the face of difficulties or lack of kindness coming your way. Keep on being kind, by serving others, by doing your sharing of Reiki on YouTube. Anything that's going in the direction of enlightenment and union with God, loving God, serving humanity, all of those actions in your life are also channeling your energy in the direction of enlightenment and consciousness and highest expanded states of consciousness, as well as the inner meditative transmutation. You see, because do you see what I'm saying is that there's the biological, physiological dimension of the energy that you're conserving in terms of the sexual fluids, but then there's the thought energy that you're conserving, there's the emotional energy that you're conserving, there's the energy, the dynamic energy of desire that you're conserving, and then there's the biological, physiological energy of the organism itself that you're conserving. Not just the energy that you would have expended in sex, but the energy that is just implicitly hummed out in the organism when you're more in a sexual mode and you reflect on sex more or think of sex more, or you look at women and in a sexual way. That's all burning energy, so that you're conserving all of that energy as well. So you need to think about all of that in a holistic way, and you're transmuting all of it through your actions, through your thoughts. So it's not just that you're channeling the energy, the sexual fluids up the spine only in the meditative mode. Just by through the day, when you think of the Lord, or you think of the Divine Mother, or you think of your true nature, so you take the thought energy that might have gone in the sexual direction and turn it towards God. That, you see, that in itself is transmuting. You're transmuting the totality of the energy of your psycho-somatic and spiritual being. Your psycho-somatic and energetic being, and the energy of the soul. And you're taking it all in the direction of God. And so when you have those thoughts of the divine through the day, say you see someone, you pass them by on the street, rather than think about yourself, you choose, I'll pray for that person. Lord, give me their suffering, give me their negative karma, give me their bad karma, and give them my good karma, or let me take on, if it's possible, any heaviness in their heart and transmute it through my meditative power into love and send it back to them. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah, and then do Om Namah Shivaya for 10 minutes for that person, or 1 minute, or 10 seconds, or I don't know, through the day you see a beautiful woman and you think, the Divine Mother, and you focus on seeing her as an emanation of consciousness, as a child of the universe, or seeing her in Tibetan Buddhism, let's say, as your own mother. Anything along those lines that comes to you that's creative and is authentic for you, an authentic creative movement in your being that goes in that more wholesome, pious, pure, enlightened, spiritual, high vibrational direction, is going to work towards transmuting the Shakti, transmuting the sexual fluids, and transmuting the grosser energetic qualities in the lower chakras, and raising that energy up the spine into the anahata, the ajna, and the sahasrara. You see? So when you're practicing the celibacy, intensify your spiritual practice, because otherwise, it's not that otherwise it won't work out. It'll help it work out. It'll make the process smoother. One thing to be aware of is that if you enter into a Brahmacharya mode and live like this for a while, and then you lapse into sexual activity, or you have a scheduled period of sexual activity, which is what the yogis recommended for married yogis or yogis in a committed relationship, you engage in that sexual dance together once a month, or once a fortnight, or once a week, rather than twice a day. Then you're going to most likely notice a contrast between how refined and how much of a hum there was in your organism, how full and powerful the energy was, compared to directly after that sexual activity. Although if you expend the sexual fluids with your partner in a tantric embrace, there's something of an exchange in the energies between you, which buffers that shift in the energy that can happen. The longer you keep the Brahmacharya going, the more powerful the results are. That is in the classical tantric literature. The longer you keep it going, the more powerful the results. Along these lines, there are practices of coming together with your partner and keep remaining conscious that your partner is a conscious being. If you can keep focused on your partner as a conscious being and conserve the sexual fluids, then that can become an ecstatic tantric practice. But on more on the classical Brahmachari, these are some points that I share with you. I'm going to read a little bit now. Brahmacharya, or the conservation of sexual energy through self-control, often termed continence here, is considered essential for Kundalini awakening by providing the necessary energy, focus, and stability to open the Sushumna nadi. It transforms physical vitality into spiritual power, Ojas, providing the mental strength needed to handle elevated Kundalini energy. And on Ojas and on the Brahmachari, making sure that your diet and possibly even your supplements are nourishing the reproductive system is something that if you can nourish and do some research on foods that nourish the Ojas, OJAS, and in particular for if you are in a rhythm where you're expending that sexual fluid, periodically, then making sure attending to your diet in terms of a diet that's yogic and sattvic and focused on building the ojas, that will make a big difference as well. So, okay. I said I'd share it with Master Charles. So Master Charles, spoke about this, that it was important. He would have laughed at the idea of worrying about it. I don't think I brought it up with him. What happens if you expend that fluid? He likely would have laughed. He spoke to me about the process in himself, and indicated that the advanced stages of the Brahmacharya were powerful and profound. So, and he indicated that if you persist with it, there are some significant breakthroughs that happen. All right. I hope this is helpful for you, my friend. Namah Shivaya. Namaste.